Oh, he's here. Alright, hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. This is of course another anime reaction video. Today we are finally starting the first of two anime replacements for Haikyuu. Of course, Noragami, the one I personally picked, and pretty much I know nothing about the series. I know two things. One, the opening. Oh, I know three things actually. Excuse me. The first thing I know is that the second opening, the opening for season 2, is a fucking banger. The second thing I know is from one of the comments, they mentioned that the main character is, I think, voiced by Hideyoshi something. Fuck, I've forgotten. But the same guy who does the voice actor for Levi in Attack on, which, by the way, Attack on Titan. Still don't know what's happening with Levi right now after the end of the first half of the final season. But that's okay. We'll find out eventually in the second half of season 4 or the final season, whatever you want to call it. I despise that. Attack on Titan, the final season, part 1. The Attack on Titan season 4, part 2. Just call it season 3 and season 4 instead of season 3 part 1, season 3 part 2, and then call it season 5 and then 6. Okay, we don't need these part 1, part 2 bullshit. All right. But with that all the way, yeah, there we go. Here we go. Hiroshi Kamiya. Apparently they share a voice actor, which is going to be really interesting because I, at least from my memory, all I can imagine his voice sounding like is how he sounds in Attack on Titan, which I just, now looking at his page on my anime list, realize he shares a voice actor with the main character of Angel Beats. Holy shit. That's insane. Just thinking of Levi and the main guy from Angel Beats. Oh god. I wonder what kind of character Hiroshi Kamiya, I don't know if I'm saying that right, is going to be playing this anime. And then the third thing I know is that this kind of has a weird watch order. So apparently the watch order is the entirety of season 1, the first 6 episodes of season 2, and then it's not, and then it's the season 1 OVAs, but it's not in the way you think. You watch the second OVA first, and then the first one, and then at any point after that you can watch the first Arigato OVA, then you watch the rest of Arigato, and then you watch the second OVA for Arigato. But what I'm probably going to do is all of that up until watching the second and then the first OVA, and then just watch the rest of season 2, and then watch the 2 OVAs for Arigato together. Because from what I read online, you can watch the first Arigato OVA whenever you want. But either way, I'm really excited to get to this new anime. I wonder what it's going to be about. Because, again, those are the only 3 things I know about this series. So real quick before we get into this, just real quick, going to use this chance to announce the winner of the poll. I could have made actually, you know what? No, fuck it. I'll put that as a short video that I'll put up. I don't know when. Probably the next Gintama reaction. If you saw it, then you already know it's Daily Lives of Daily Lives of High School Boys, which should be up the day after this. So without further ado, as always, unless you're new here, follow one of the links in the description below, which will take you to the full-length uncut reaction, so you can go ahead and watch the reaction there, or, and then, after that, come back to YouTube, watch the discussion. So without further ado, let's get started. Noragami, Season 1, Episode 1. God damn it. What a fucking first episode this was, by the way. Can we talk about that for a second? It hits you with a short explanation of the sort of premise. There are gods. There's going to be a lot of gods based on what we know so far, based on what I know so far, and they all take prayers to do jobs, and they make money off of it. I'm still fuzzy on little details. I'm probably going to bring up questions that will probably get answered later, because this is, of course, just an introduction to like the main cast and the main premise, so to speak. But in regards to how exactly this works, because in the park we see Yato spraying, that's not a phone number, that's hardly a phone number, 090-XXXX-pound 3X. So obviously they weren't going to use a real phone number, but that implies that there's a phone number that he can be called on. And he does have a cell phone, but it makes me think, first of all, it all loops back around. What? What are the rules on who can see gods? Because, first of all, where did he get the spray can? Did he buy that? If he did, that means normal people can see him. Unless he can pick and choose. But if he can pick and choose, well, no, that would still mean that it would make sense that she saw him, because he maybe wasn't actively choosing. But it seemed like the animals reacting to his presence. Maybe it's one of those things where you only if you believe in that god. I have no fucking clue what the rules are yet. If it'll explain it later, I'll hold off on questioning things. If it won't be explained later, feel free to tell me, I guess. But the theory I have for how exactly they receive, whatchamacallit, requests, based on the opening scene, it seemed like they were just they were either in the area and they heard the prayer, or they heard the prayer and then they showed up because of the prayer. And it makes me think that the way it works is that there's like a group of people that are constantly monitoring humans for prayers, and they take the prayers, and it's kind of like how dispatchers work in like police or ambulances or like firefighters, and then they take those requests and they funnel them around to different people. But if he's a poor god, but yeah, I have no idea how exactly it works. But this was a wild first episode. I really loved it. I can already tell that I'm really gonna enjoy it. I'm gonna just repeat their names now: Yato and Hiyori Iki, just so I can remember. Hopefully, it'll help me remember these names better. Hiyori's two friends don't seem like they'll be very important to the story. Maybe I'm wrong. Same thing with Hiyori's parents. But this is a really interesting premise. But see, I think most of this episode has been mainly just setting up the world and certain specifics in regard, like laying down and explaining specifics regarding certain characters rather than setting up a plot. Because outside of her wish to be returned to normal and her payment of 5 yen to Yato to figure that out, which, by the way, calling it now, the whole 5 yen thing, even though he's poor and he could be charging more, and that he says God should only be charging 5 yen, but it's foreshadowing or whatever to a larger conflict that'll maybe have to do with absurd charging of like prices for gods to do their job, even though they're supposed to be helping people no matter what type thing, because they're gods or whatever. And I don't know, maybe there's a sad backstory revolving around that, maybe involving the little mask girl who, the shot. That's gotta be Yato. something with these two, because there was a couple of shots of him, I assume Yato, with a ponytail, with the little mask girl. But I'm not even gonna try to speculate on what's going on with Hiyori and why she's in between, the far shore and the near shore. I think he said. The afterlife in the world of the living, I assume. Oh, and those voices she heard in the hospital when he was hiding under a blanket was from the far shore. Interesting. So did she just hear a lot of dead voices all the time? Yeah. So far, I really love Yato. He's really enjoyable so far. Hiyori, she has a lot of potential. Her situation is just super interesting already, and the fact that she was able to, off instinct, kick this motherfucking frog in the face was pretty impressive. I won't lie. Interesting. I assume it's gonna be next episode, but I wonder if we're gonna see Yato's new regalia, rigatoni, I don't know. All I know is that there's probably going to be running gags in the show where most people just don't take Yato seriously and always like rag on him and just like fuck with him, just like poor, incompetent, pervert, I don't know, shit like that. Just because he's such a low ranking god without a shrine, but yet he still has such like huge ambitions. But you know what? It's probably the most unique concept for I want to be the strongest X ever in and I assume this is a shonen series. I could be wrong. It could be considered something else. It depends on, because shonen's not a genre; it's a demographic. But it's definitely in my opinion, a unique spin on that idea. Especially because he doesn't necessarily have to be the strongest in order to have this extravagant shrine with all these followers. Like, you probably do, but I feel like it has more to do with helping people than it directly does with like physical strength. Maybe. I don't know. I'm talking out of my ass right now because none of this is really important right now. None of this really applies to what's like been happening in the first episode, which I said it before. I'm gonna say it again. This was an amazing first episode. So I'm just gonna get into the next episode. Really excited. Episode 2 of Noragami. Fantastic second episode. I'm really glad that we got a bit more explanation in regards to some things, especially the Gallia. That was really cool, and I'm glad we understood a little bit more about the rules in regards to who can see what. You know what I mean? So, it's almost like, and I don't see why he would, but it seemed like he was kind of avoiding the question because he didn't directly state what exactly is and why it is. Some people can see him. Obviously, some people can see him based on his 5 yen mold cleaning job, and some people can't. I think it's selective, but I think it's, and maybe she won't eventually gain the ability to control when she isn't in her spirit form, but if that's something she has to train for, I imagine as a god it's not that hard. But anyway, so one of the things I'm most interested in, whoever this, what is his name, Tenjin? He was at a shrine for Tenjin. I can only imagine that's another god. Based on the name, I have no clue who it's supposed to be. But also got some really great new world building in this episode. And denizens of the far shore, devoid of life. So really, hold on a second. I'm just going through some of the episode. Phantoms are everywhere, and they come from the far shore, which is a place devoid of life. Interesting, even though it's supposed to be a sort of afterlife. Man, there's a lot in this episode that I just have like so many questions about, but I don't even know where to begin. But I can already see where this is going. I already know where this is going. You probably already knew this was going when you first watched it, but now Yato, who is by himself a belligerent son of a bitch. Well, maybe not belligerent is a good way to describe it. He's already like a useless deadbeat guy, like the way Hiyori was describing him. I still like him, but to be fair, he's not particularly useful. The only real jobs we've seen him done is the first episode at the beginning of it, finding a cat, and then cleaning someone's bathroom. Like he said, he's doing chores for chump change. And now he's just got two he's got two kids. One of them is really belligerent, and the other one is less so, but still very not very how do I put this, proud to be associated with him. Hiyori doesn't seem to care about him, constantly berates him. Yuki seems like he'll be a lot more belligerent. He'll be a lot more aggressive towards Yato, but more like in a Tsukishima kind of way, like Tsukishima from Haikyuu, where he's just kind of like he's just kind of really passive aggressive, but also sometimes directly aggressive in his insults towards Yato. Oh, like when he was saying, "No way, I don't want your sweatsuit. I want it because it smells like sweat." Ugh. I'm praising Yato and saying I like him, but to be fair, I don't really know what he smells like. Like the girl Yukine, I believe, was saying that his hands were disgusting and sweaty and smelled terrible, and I was like, I was kind of defending Yato, and I want to defend him in this case too. But to be honest, with how little money he's making on the little jobs he even gets, can he even afford like a laundromat to clean his clothes and get a shower every day when he doesn't have a shrine? Sheesh. I can't wait to see how their dynamic is going to progress as the series goes on, especially in regards to the flash we saw of Yuki's past question mark, what he was before he became a spirit that became a regalia with Yato, because they played a bunch of flashes and Yato was crying. So we're gonna get some lore on those guys. We have to at some point. And now I'm really excited to see what kind of dynamics we're gonna see with other gods and like their regalias. That's gonna be really interesting. And we already seen some of them. Obviously, we don't know much of them based on their appearances, but we got one. There's one that looks kind of like another high school girl, like with like how Hiyori is, and then there's one that's got a jacket and then like a mini skirt and like, what do you even call it? What, that's not like a bra. It's like a swimsuit top almost, bikini top or whatever. And then there was there was another guy. I'm pretty sure. Well, oh, she has guns. The lady with the skin stuff. You know what I mean? And then the other schoolgirl almost seems to be really infatuated with Hiyori, and her like stocking is coming off too. Interesting. Anyway, really great 2 episodes. So glad to be starting this anime. Started it because I really liked an opening, and that's pretty much it. As kind of weird as that sounds, I pretty much only started this anime because I really liked the second opening. But shit, if you enjoyed this video, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you don't miss a single upload in the future. Thank you once again for watching. Peace.